back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Josh and Alex.
And today we're talking about the Avengers teasers. We got 4 of them, one every week of the Avatar Fire and Ash theatrical run, and we're here to talk about them. I guess we can go in order, right? We're gonna go in order. Cap, as we have spoken before, we saw the leak for it, and I think we all kind of felt very skeptical about it, hoping that maybe it was AI. Then we found out it wasn't.
Josh saw the Captain America one in theaters. That was the first one that we had one of us text to confirm, like, hey, I just saw this in theaters. This is actually real. So that was our first confirmation of real.
And no audience reaction.
Really?
And the crowd went
yeah, a full theater.
Silence.
No reaction. No reaction.
Right.
I think this was the weakest one. I think it's bold to release the weakest teaser because they're saying these aren't trailers and barely are even teasers. The Russo brothers are talking about with these clips. What do they mean by that? Who the fuck knows? I think it's kind of bold to definitely release the weakest one right off the bat. I honestly think they should have just kept us assuming Cap was coming back and never actually officially showed us ever, because you just instantly releasing that one made everyone being that this was just going to be a nostalgia, cash grab, desperate move, and it still can be that thing. But it definitely made it start rough when I feel like the other teasers, maybe I'll speak a little bit on all our halves. I feel like they're definitely way better and got a bit of my interest back, and I like the feel of them all. So just that first Cap one, I don't know why the release is. Honestly, I don't know the times if that one was also the shortest one. It felt like it was the shortest one. Definitely the one that had the least content and context in it. Yeah, they should just never released it at all. Just left it in the movie. Just classic modern cinema move of just had to show what's coming in there instead of just leaving it in the movie. And I think we would have liked it maybe better in the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say with all of these that I don't know if we were gonna talk about, how we feel about that one, is just go by one how we feel about that one, and then also any like questions or how it relates, because like you said, this one doesn't, out of all of them, it doesn't confirm anything really. But also for me, it kind of makes me have more questions, because like I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, if we just like left the whole endgame thing as the endgame thing, like I wouldn't think about like the whole time jump and everything. But now I'm like, so does that means this is a different universe than ours? Because if Cap and Peggy have a kid together, that means that there's this Cap and our Cap that still like happened in that 616 dimension. But that would have meant Peggy had a son with Captain America, a different Captain America. It's like none of her coworkers could have ever met her son or her kid, because they would have been like, wait a minute, that's Steve Rogers, but there's also other Steve Rogers. So I was like, that actually just made it think like that has to be a different timeline then, which is a different dimension.
It could be one of those situations. I don't know if you remember, Josh, in Across the Spider-Verse with Miguel O'Hara. He went into a universe where his other counterpart was dead, and then he lived out his life there, and then an incursion happened. So maybe that's the route they're going, where maybe Cap didn't exist, or he was like in the ice, technically speaking.
Yeah, but I'm saying that can't be our 616 universe then.
No, it's our Cap, but he's living in a different universe. Yeah.
Right. So it's a different universe that Cap is now traveling, which doesn't make sense, because how did Cap learn to travel to different universes? Because the whole point in Endgame was only they were messing with our...
How did we get him back?
Yeah, because we were only messing with our timeline, not other universes. There's a difference of going back in our time and going to a different universe. This means Cap now somehow has gone to a different universe. Like, we would have all just skipped over this with the whole Endgame, like the old Cap thing. Like, we all were kind of like, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we'll leave it. But now that they're revisiting it, it now just opens up the whole, this doesn't make sense. How can Cap now jump dimensions? unless this is not somehow, they're going to act like this is a completely different Cap and a completely different times that has nothing to do with our Captain America at all. Like, that's
I
the
highly
only
doubt
way
it
they could
because
have done it. But then already you have
the
Robert
whole
Downey Jr. reprising his role as Dr. Doom, and now we're gonna have Steve Rogers come back, or Chris Evans come back as a Steve Rogers, but not one in a dimension that we've ever seen before. So like that's why I said like this to anything for me just created more questions of like this makes no fucking sense. Like we were gonna allow the whole confusing time jump
It creates that
in
doubt.
Endgame, but them opening with this was like right away. I was like that not only didn't really excite me for the movie, that just made me more like, oh, so we're really just cash grabbing it because this makes no fucking sense once you start thinking about it.
The only thing that comes into my head is like that scene where Banner talks to the Ancient One, and where she's talking about like if you remove that stone from there, it essentially that timeline branches into a new timeline. So I'm guessing that's the route they're going, hence creating like a new universe, I guess.
But it has to be a different
new universe with a new
dimension,
timeline.
Yeah.
Not exactly, because if he goes back to that time, he stays there, it creates a different like it branches out into something completely different. So maybe like the nexus point is the same, like everything up until that point is the same, but because he decided to stay there, it creates this branching universe. Because it's not like it existed there beforehand. He just went back in time.
Timeline has to be essentially a different dimension. Because you can't have
I'm not sure
time and the same branch. Like that's why I was like, this one definitely for me was the most like I'm not that didn't make me excited for Doomsday, and it also just made me have more questions about what are we doing
here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Blake, on this. That's how I always visioned it. Of that, you know, I never really mentioned it, but as you're talking, Alex, when you mentioned a branch, I remember thinking about that at the end of Loki about Endgame and how that was possibly how they're going to introduce the Kings into the modern Marvel universe, because Cap creates a separate branch and messes with the worlds there because of him leaving. But them showing a kid does make things sloppy. Like I think what Blake said, of it makes things seem way harder. It would have been way more acceptable if there was not a kid. That's how I feel, at least. Because you still could have got the old Cap there, and just because he went back in time, it just messes with things and he changed stuff. I mean, I know it's not canon anymore, but even like previously how they handled Agent Carter was she had like a different man in her own life while Cap was gone. So all that stuff's wiped if they even consider that canon anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I think the kid makes it sloppy. I still think they should have just not shown this at all. It was the worst one, and it makes everything questionable, and the doubt was instantly there. I don't think there's any positive feedback at all about this trailer. So I don't know why they did it.
Yeah, I agree. It only made things more confusing. The only thing that it kind of kept consistent was like the post credits of Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. That look of it, you can tell it's from that Doomsday, shooting of Doomsday. So that's about it. The good news is it all went up from there. Like the bar was already pretty low, so everything else after this was was winning for sure.
Yeah, I mean, also with it, just my last thing on it is like, not that this is a big thing, but they changed the location of the house. Like at the end of Endgame, it was in a suburb, and this is on a farm where there's no one around. Not that that's like a big deal or anything, but like they did change the location, which I just feel like what's the reason for that? Like, I would imagine there's some kind of reason. Like, why wouldn't they just use the same setup? So I feel like there must be something with that. I don't know how much time we're going to really spend there, but that was just one thing I was noting, that we went from a suburb to a farmhouse.
Maybe
you moved.
The notes that the Russo brothers are talking about, the fact that you're supposed to be paying attention and these aren't trailers.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we'll move on to the Thor one, which was the second one coming out the following week. Alex saw this one in theaters. But yeah, this one was just pretty much Thor. Starts off a shot of the woods, and it's pretty much Thor talking to his dad, kind of saying almost like a prayer in a way, blessing to his dad, just basically saying like, hey, I've been a warrior my whole life. I've always answered the call, but I've been given something, a child who doesn't know like war and battle. And he said like, basically, it was like, I just want to fight one more enemy, win one more battle, and then return home to her, not as like a warrior, but as warmth was the thing. And really all that we saw was him talking. We saw a quick little, we're assuming, background of him like basically tucking Love into bed. Other than that, we saw him in the woods when it finally cut to him. He had his shorter hair that we saw on Ragnarok, and he was also with Stormbreaker, which was a little different just because at the end of Thor Love and Thunder, Love was wielding Stormbreaker and he was using Mjolnir, so there's just a little difference there. That was pretty much all that trailer had. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts were on that one.
I really liked it. It's always nice having a serious Thor from when we last had him, and we'll see how it has to deal with the fact that they threw a kid onto him with the last one. I know that maybe some small details in this one kind of feels like he's almost filling that Odin role, so I'm curious how powerful they're going to allow him to be in this one. Another potential small detail, maybe mistake, like with the Cap one. In this one, he doesn't have like the fake eye in that. Does that matter? Is that just a mistake? Who knows? Is that a detail we're supposed to pay attention, or does it not mean anything? And also, like you mentioned, a different with the axe as well. So
Did you not have a scar?
I don't know. It was. I don't remember the scar. I just remember everybody was making a big deal about the eye color because they thought it was AI because it didn't have the eye color, and then it came out and it was the eye color wasn't different.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure like they have like a scar going through his like where the cut
scar,
was. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So who knows? But it was still, I think, felt nice. The vibes felt good. If this was the first one we saw, I think we would have instantly had more hope immediately, at least for me.
I completely agree. And since this was technically my first one seeing it, I kind of purged the first one from my memory. And then before Avatar Fire and Ash, this one played, I was like, I wonder if we're going to get the Cap one or if we're actually going to get a new one. And lo and behold, we got Thor. And yeah, it got my family excited. They're like, oh shit, Thor's going to be in the new one. I'm like, yep, he's going to be in the new one. And yeah, it just it was good to get, you know, Thor in this new tone again. Get rid of that last one. That's I'd say that would have been the perfect start to their press for Doomsday if you wanted to show Thor in this new light. But unfortunately, they went a different route with Cap first. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that was really my only takeaway, was a little bit of excitement of like, okay, we're getting Thor back to being not trying to fix all the bullshit Taika did to him. So that was really my only takeaway. I was like, okay, Thor seems more serious and more interesting, and that's what I was excited for. Yeah, it was just like we said, Chris Hemsworth was in the set share whole announcement thing, but Chris Evans wasn't.
Chair
It
watch.
was very weird to start the chair or the trailers off with a guy not in the trailer, like confirming him. Just seems like there's got to be a reason why you chose him for first and to confirm him, but not put him in those set shares. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go on to the X-Men one, which I think is unanimous. Everybody is the most hyped for. This one was the primarily talked over by Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart reprising their roles, which we all knew they were confirmed for this. As you show, it kind of shows kind of the inside of the Xavier or Charles Xavier Home for Gifted Mutants or whatever the plaque says on the front, or Gifted Children. It didn't look like the X Mansion we've seen before. At least I didn't recognize it as the one we saw in the previous X-Men, like the original or the like 2013, 2010s ones. I didn't think it was the same X Mansion from a little bit I could tell. But yeah, this one just has those
and
two.
it's like set in a different spot.
Oh, it is?
Like it's showing like it's showing like a library, and we never really saw that part of the house. So it could be the same house, but you know,
right?
It definitely looks.
They didn't show anything that we for sure were like, oh, that's the same house. But mainly you have Magneto and Professor X talking about, you know, who will you be when you die, giving up that they're going to lose, seal chess piece move, nod to them always playing chess. And then the real money shot of this that everyone's hyped about is you see Cyclops just letting off a beam, taking off his eyewear to let out just an unhinged beam while yelling. And the big takeaway of that is, one, his suit is the classic iconic blue and yellow suit, it seems, as well as in the background there was some massive feet walking. Most people were assuming are Sentinels. Guess we can throw out, it could be Galactus if we're just throwing out large figures, but we're all pretty much like, yeah, it's got to be Sentinels. And that was the end of that trailer. So this was definitely the unanimous, everybody's favorite.
Yeah, when this leaked, I saw it first. I was like, if this is real, we might be cooking here. And then it was released officially. And boy, I've seen this trailer, I shit you not, like 10 times already. I recently showed it to my dad, who was a big fan of the OG X-Men, just this past Saturday. And we had it blasting in here. And it gets me every time. Every time you get that Cyclops shot, it's just chills. I love that shit. That's what we need. And then the monologue that Magneto's going on, holy shit, it just gets you hyped. Like, every time you get Ian McKellen just spitting fire, I'm hooked. I'm in. This is all I needed. Like, fuck the other trailers. You just put this out. This would have been enough for me.
Yeah, the only thing I'm hoping out of this one is maybe just more hoping out of the movie that this will be the final time we see those two die. So we don't have to keep saying, especially Xavier. I think this is his fifth death at this point, like literally. So we'll see what happens to those two. I think the final note that I could say that you guys haven't mentioned is the biggest takeaway for me is the visuals look like they actually were killing it, and that's what we should expect out of an Avengers film. But immediately showing that is a final shot. It looks like they made sure that shit was done to show off the visuals, and yeah, this won everybody, I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that Cyclops,
that's all I needed.
It just is insane. That the lighting, everything about it, that just easily the best one. Cannot wait for that. So yeah,
and with the potential of getting like Cyclops in his prime, like what he's supposed to be, like the leader of the X-Men. Can the Russo brothers do it finally after all this time, instead of making him like a side character in the OG trilogy? And even when they tried to make him a more main character in like the reboot younger trilogy, they didn't really highlight him that much either. So to give James Marsden one more crack at it, I'm hoping that they deliver. And from the looks of it, listen, that suit is almost perfection. It's I need to see more of it, but I'm happy. Like after that, I'm like, I don't care about any other trailers. Just I'll be there in December.
I mean, yeah, we were all going to be there anyways. I didn't need to put out any trailers, but then we go to the final one, the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four-ish. Really, we just see the thing, but this one opens with just a shot of a desert with Shuri talking to us about losing everybody she's loved. She walks out into the desert, and then we see some Telecon people as well as Namor in, again, a deserty area that is above, is on land, and it's not underwater, as you see all the Telecon people have their breathing apparatuses on besides Namor. And then we get a shot of Shuri and M'Baku and a couple Wakandan guards walking out into that desert area with M'Baku greeting, saying, I'm King of Wakanda. And then we see Ben Grimm, the Thing, shaking hands with him, introducing himself. And that's pretty much all we really see. Towards the end of this, we see Shuri give a Wakandan salute to somebody that's like at the camera, so we don't see them. Give somebody a salute as she walks onto a ship that looks like one of the Wakandan type ships. It's not a Fantastic Four type one. In fact, we don't see any Fantastic Four ship or anybody else from the Fantastic Four, which I think is something we'll probably talk about here. But that's pretty much all that we saw for that trailer. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that one are.
Yeah, I think this is mainly the biggest trailer that maybe they're trying to let fans guess. because it kind of doesn't really give us much. It's a lot of questions. One, meaning, did Wakanda fully fall here? Is that why Namor is siding with them? Is he siding with them officially there? Because the shot, you can kind of still maybe guess on that. And them all being in the desert too is another cue. Or are they just doing that to greet Fantastic Four of wherever they crashed, and they were just the designated people to greet? Who knows? But I think another thing to say is that I really liked how the visuals looked on this shot and how everybody was interacting. It just, the last 3 teasers have felt like what we always feel like when we're going into an Avengers film, especially the last 3. And I'm still into it. I just wish I maybe got a tiny bit more out of this one. It was kind of just like, hey, here it is. There's a final one, I guess. That's really all I got.
Yeah, and I've seen people say that there's a potential thing where Marvel does, and they'll like edit the trailer so that there's maybe more people in that shot that aren't actually there.
This one I absolutely think. I was going to send you guys, and I'll put it up on the screen for, the video. But I took 3 screenshots throughout all 3 of the trailers where I'm like, they're definitely hiding something. This one has 2 of them that I'll send to you guys now on your phones that'll pop up here. But the opening shot of Shuri just walking out into the desert, there's 100% something that she's walking to. Like, there's got to be, because then also in that trailer, it looks like it's the same part where M'Baku's next to her. I'm assuming they're greeting the Fantastic Four, but my thoughts are either the Fantastic Four with somebody, say the X-Men, or something, because you don't even see a ship. And then I also sent the thing when he's shaking hands. There's got to be people behind him, just the way that shot's, or a ship that I'm like, why did they not show any type of Fantastic Four ship? Like, Ben, he had to get there somehow. He's not teleporting. At least we don't assume he is, or using portals like Victor Von Doom did in the end of Fantastic, we're assuming. So they definitely cut out ships there. So that's this one that I was like, they're hiding something with that desert scene. And like you said, I wonder, is it a desert scene? Like there's somewhere on our Earth in the desert, or with all the Talokan stuff, is this underwater, but all the water's gone? Something happened that all the water got sucked up by something? Or the other thing that some people have said, are we in the void here? Like the deserty area, could this be in the void? That's why there is no water or anything. It's just a desert blank landscape like we've seen in Loki and
Deadpool and Wolverine.
So, but those were the ones of this trailer that I sent that I was like 100% they're taking stuff out here.
Yeah, that especially with that like Ben Grimm shot, the way he's positioned in the shot, there's for sure something behind there. Whether it's people or like the Fantastic Four ship, there's just no way that there isn't anything there. I refuse to believe that that's how they shot that scene. There's just no way.
Agreed. Yeah, and but I think the other thing was, we talked about, once all these were out, the Russos put up a cryptic thing on their Instagram that I wrote down here for us to talk about, is what you've been watching for the last 4 weeks are not teasers or trailers. They are stories. They are clues. Pay attention. So I just figured, what do we think that means? Like I said, I sent those 2. And then the last one that I think there's definitely something else going on here is that Cyclops shot. I think there's somebody in front of him that is dead. That's my prediction. Just the way the camera pans out like this, like they leave a lot of empty space in front of him on this, like on the ground, pulling back. And there's even more in this trailer of it pulling back. And just the way he's unhinged, taking off his eyepiece, like clearly I don't think he's shooting at something. I think that is just like a pure grieving thing of him just taking it off and letting it off. Because I mean, we got Sentinels behind him. Like he technically is still in threat of fighting. That I think in this scene, there's 100% somebody in front of him who's dead, and even somewhat in his arms maybe. But that's absolutely, I think that shot is edited to take someone or something out of in front of him.
I definitely agree with that. I felt like that was a grieving shot, and maybe it's Jean there of they bring her back just to have her already dead in the shot when they're grabbing X-Men, and that's how they explain having a limited, maybe full X-Men cast coming back. But Other than that, I think really what I've gathered from all the teasers is that basically everybody is already going to be on a losing front, it seems, going into this movie, and that's probably what the first hour of this film is going to be, kind of setting up just like how Infinity War was, where we see Thanos get a quick win and he's kind of winning and winning. I think they might just copy that. It's a good formula, it works, and I think it will help also kind of maybe gather these groups together faster, because we don't know the time of this movie yet. That's a big concern. And we also don't know how the hell they're going to put everybody together without it feeling awkward, which some of the teasers have felt a little awkward, like the last one. But as you explained, probably that awkwardness is because they're hiding a bunch of stuff and it's hella edited. But it does just seem everybody's losing and on the brink of losing, either in their own worlds to collapse from either something already happening or it's from Doom. We'll see.
And I think that's a good, I mean, the formula worked the first time. And I think that's a good way to build up a character that we're introducing for the first time in this movie. Essentially, Thanos was introduced for the first time in Infinity War as well. He had a few end credit appearances, but that's about it. So it really, like, when we finally got to know Thanos was Infinity War. So, I mean, that's a good way to build tension, to build this character, and yeah, just to make him feel like a huge threat when you have all these different heroes just losing already right off the bat. The other thing that I gathered, I mean, obviously, I'm not sure if you guys have, but after they said that, I'm like, okay, so they're very clearly trying to tell us something about kids here. Cap, kid. Thor, kid. Post credit of the Fantastic Four, what was Doom doing? Talking to Franklin. Pretty much. Okay, so that's three there.
He's the Marvel's Epstein, man.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And then famously, Jean and Scott. I don't know what timeline we're gonna go to, but they have at least 2 children. So, and both are powerful mutants as well. And then you have the Black Panther, T'Challa's son, T'Challa Jr. as well. So you have potentially all these characters with some form of relationship to a kid of some kind that has maybe heightened abilities or some sort of cosmic ability, like Franklin, like those 2 mutant kids that Scott and Jean have.
T'Challa Jr. doesn't have anything.
But that we know of.
I mean, why would he have anything? Not the herbal thing that they take doesn't pass on to your children. Because T'Challa didn't have, and Shuri didn't have any powers until they took the herb from their, it's not like their dad passed that on. So he's the son of a normal human woman and T'Challa.
Okay, the only thing, and this is just me like speculating here, that is completely wrong. But my thought process was, okay, back in the day when T'Chaka was having kids, after every time he would stop being the Black Panther, and because I think in the first Black Panther, if I'm not mistaken, they do have to take a serum to then go back to normal, right? Because I'm pretty sure he's not Black Panther like strength the entire time, because then he has to retake it again.
Yeah, that's
the whole point of the first one.
For the fight against Killmonger, he has to get rid of it.
Right, exactly. So maybe potentially he didn't have it in his system when he had the kids, but maybe because obviously Killmonger burned all of the flower, he never took it away anymore. He just kept it in his system.
Yeah, but I mean, they only took it out when they were challenging somebody. It's not like he would come home from a mission and they would take it out of him. He only had to have it taken out of him because he was challenged against Killmonger. So T'Chaka would have had, ever since he had the herb, he would have had no reason to ever give up that ability. And there's been no... I mean, yeah, like you said, it's just a theory, but to me, it's like, I wouldn't assume that kid would have no powers. He's just a kid.
True. I mean, I'm just trying to make that, like, all of these teasers make some form of sense. Especially with the first 3 being, like, like an incursion baby. Then you have Love, who was resurrected by Eternity. So that's a big cosmic energy that she has in her blood. And then you have obviously Franklin being literally the ultimate one. So it's like, okay, I'm trying to make it make sense here. And obviously Scott and Jean's kids are like Omega level, or at least up there mutants. So I'm just trying to make it make sense, especially with what they said, saying they're like mini stories and everything. Okay, that's kind of what I got out of these 4 teaser story thingies that they're calling. I don't care what they're called, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree that you can definitely get that out of the first 2. I mean, I definitely think there's nothing in the X-Men one to say anything about children, and same with the 4th one. I wouldn't really say there's any children-based one in that, but I don't know. To me, I feel like that'd be a bold move by them if that's what the premise of it is, because it's like Cap's baby. We don't give a fuck about that kid. Love is famously from Thor: Love and Thunder is one of the worst, most hated Marvel movies ever. So it's like, already there you go. Wakanda Forever was not meted with high regard. And again, if T'Challa's son is something of that, we've seen that kid for 2 seconds. Nobody gives a fuck about that kid either. And then if we go to the X-Men and we go to Jean and Scott's kids who we've never met before, we're supposed to care. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's relying on us all as the audience caring about a lot of things that have never been in the MCU when we're getting a bunch of things back. That I just feel like that would be a bit distracting. Be like, oh, we're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., we're back Chris Evans, we're bringing that the original X-Men. And the main plot is these fucking babies that you've never met. You're supposed to care about them. Like, I feel like that would be a
I don't think it's necessarily the babies themselves. It's more about like how it affects,
but that would be the uniting thing.
The other characters.
But that would be the uniting thing is all these people like, hey, we need to get our kids back if Doom's taking them or whatever, or we got to protect our kids. And as the audience, we'd be like, man, I just want to see Cyclops be cool. I don't give a fuck about his kids, dog. You know what I mean? Like, that would just be a little like, as an audience, like, man, Chris Evans is back. I hope he gets his son back, or it protects his baby that I've never met, and I don't care about this incursion baby. Like, Franklin's the only one that we've had time with that we care about.
Right. But, again, that was just my theory off the dome.
Yeah, I mean, like you know, obviously them saying these are clues. What are they? What's he building in there?
I don't know, man. I just know if they're taking inspiration from both of the Secret Wars comic runs and the predecessing comic run, what's it called? Time Runs Out, where he essentially takes these like very powerful characters. They wasn't babies at that time, but it's like these cosmic level characters that can help him reshape and save the multiverse. I'm thinking that they might do something along those lines. Maybe it's not all these kids. Maybe it really is just Franklin, because he is that fucking guy. Because he literally can create universes. So, I mean, and destroy him as well.
They confirmed that Sue was dead, and Franklin, as a baby, not knowing what he was doing, resurrected her. So already Fantastic Four showed us how smart he was at Four, reading fucking philosophers' books and shit, that who can only guess how much he's already honed his powers at that point. So yeah, Franklin is definitely a major threat to Doom, potentially, or, you know, a savior to Doom, whatever he's trying to do.
Right. And considering, I mean, have you guys seen that, like, what do they call it? It's like the crew, like, gifts and stuff like that. Like, one of them showed like this like bag where it had like all the characters that were in Chairwatch, and you see kind of their costumes. Funny enough, some of the costumes are matching with what is shown in the trailer, so we get like that shot of Namor with his like collared look, and it was in that bag. So one of the characters that was featured on there was Franklin. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be a very big part of whatever Doom is planning.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that's the only point we've seen
I'm all
Doom
for
so
it.
far.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I know that there's potentially going to be a Doom focused trailer during the Super Bowl, which from today is what less than a month away.
Yeah, it's like
Three weeks
weeks
away?
I think from Sunday. So yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. I'm assuming what Super Bowl is going to be our next trailer, and who knows, maybe that's an actual trailer, maybe it's an actual teaser. They're saying these aren't even teasers, but I would guess we have to get some kind of Doom Super Bowl Sunday. Everybody watching, I'm expecting some kind of Doom in this one for once.
They'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, and I'm curious if they're gonna pull what route they're gonna go about it. Are they gonna give us just the look and it's just kind of a tease like the first one that we're getting Steve Rogers back, or is it gonna give a bit more context where we can maybe pick it apart a bit and see how is this Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Don't know.
I know we mentioned this earlier, just because. So the 4 teasers or whatever you want to call it, trailers. The run times are 1 minute 21. This is in order. Then it's 1:22, and the shortest is actually the X-Men one at 1:09, and then the Shuri one is at 1:05. Oh wait, never mind. 1:05. The Shuri one is the shortest. So
each one got shorter and shorter.
Besides the Thor one got 1 second longer, which
Right.
whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, they're all at the 120, 110 mark essentially. So I'm guessing if we do get something, it might be kind of what they've done in the past, where we get like this 30 seconds. Because I think the way the Super Bowl works, and you can only buy like an ad slot for like 30 seconds, and they'll probably show like a thing at the end, full
You can buy
trailer
a minute.
online.
You can get a minute of the
okay.
Super Bowl as well. But yeah, I'm
Okay,
assuming they're gonna give us something that say to go online for the full trailer, because I feel like this could be completely wrong, but I feel like the Spider-Man No Way Home was Super Bowl as well, because I just feel like I remember the pumpkins being thrown in Willem Dafoe's laughter. I feel like that was a Super Bowl ad.
I think you're right,
but I just feel like I remember watching the
right.
Super Bowl and getting that and texting you guys and be like, holy shit, Willem Dafoe's laugh, and then there's a bigger trailer online. So that's why I was assuming,
I think
because
that's right.
That was definitely a December release, and obviously Doomsday is a December release, so it's like, as far as I can remember, that was a real thing on Super Bowl Sunday, and it was the first trailer. So I could see them following in those footsteps of, we get the Super Bowl with that. The one that, I mean, obviously this is a whole different conversation, but Spider-Man comes out obviously way before, and we have jack shit on that. So I'm kind of wondering if we're going to get 2 Marvel ads during the Super Bowl, because at some point they got to start promoting Spider-Man. I mean, we're 6 months away from it. Obviously, Doomsday's got 3 little teasers, and we've got nothing on Spider-Man. So I was wondering, Super Bowl Sunday, if we'll be getting Doomsday and Spider-Man
2. I would not be mad at that. Just a little off track, just because I found this nostalgic. Do you guys remember during the Super Bowl when they did that kind of cut of Civil War, when it was divided we fall, united we stand, and they do this for like 30 seconds? We see like the 2 teams, and it said full trailer online. We go to this trailer and we get like the full I think it was like 1:30 or whatever, and it ends with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that is ingrained in my brain, bro. So I'm hoping that they do this. Yeah,
Endgame trailer.
We did not get a Spider-Man No Way Home ad, by the way. In the
that wasn't the Super Bowl.
Nope, we got a Deadpool and Wolverine. That was the last Marvel one to get in the Super Bowl.
Well, that would have been 20.
Yep.
4
or 2.
4.
Yeah.
No Way Home was like 22.
There was no.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was saying the last one we got from Marvel was Deadpool and Wolverine,
before that,
but we never got a Spider one in 22.
Yeah.
And the Deadpool one, for context, if we want to go back, was only a 30-second.
Okay, that's what I thought, because that's what they usually do.
Do we know for sure? Did that one have like a go online for a full trailer thing? or was it that was
I believe it did. Yeah, it was just a teaser for the full trailer because that's why it broke a record for Marvel's.
Then yeah, I
most
imagine they'll
viewed
be doing the
trailer.
same thing, just a 30-second teaser to the actual trailer, which is online. But
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think we're all kind of expecting the Super Bowl to have something else from Doomsday because, like we said, we've yet to get Doctor Doom in anything, so we'll see how that goes.
shit, I hope so, because Marvel didn't do shit at San Diego Comic-Con last year, so they got to do something. And we're anywhere better than the Super Bowl. We have a bunch of people watching, and you're known to put out these pretty elite teasers that lead to the full trailer online. So yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Talking about these not teasers, not trailers, allegedly stories that Marvel put out in a interesting way that we haven't seen before. But overall, let us know in the comments down below if you what your thoughts on these stories are. What are they trying to tell? What are they saying to us? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.